Tomodachi's. Something happened and I froze for a minute. I guess eventually, yeah, I'm hoping it's live. I think it is, but eventually, um, maybe I have to upgrade my internet. I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm live. So today I am just going to do kind of a little movie review that on a series that I've been watching, and it's really quite interesting to me. It may not be to some of the men in the audience because it is about it's about the 1950s in East End London. Hey, hey, Anna Marie, I can see you. Well, I can't see you, but I'm glad to have you on here. I think you're going to like this one. We'll see. I don't know if you've watched it. Call the Midwife is what it's called. And I just thought I'd review it and kind of explain why I really am enjoying it. So I guess it has been out since 2012. Oh, good, you saw it. So then okay, so you'll know too then. And I just now kind of started watching it. I think I'm only a series or two in. And it's about a convent in London ran by sisters or nuns. And it's been really entertaining. I really like it. And I'm just going to tell you pretty much three reasons that I really like it. So one of the first things is I find it very interesting, the relationships that these nuns have and midwives who are living in the convent. And it's in a time back in the 50s when actually I think a lot of war had taken place and people were still living, they didn't have a lot of things. So they were living in houses in an area that sometimes it shows that they don't even have a lot of food for the family. And so these midwives, which I don't know, Anna Marie, if you know if they had credentials, because it doesn't really show if they had to do any training. So I don't know that they had to have credentials, but so they all live in this convent, and then oh, good. Okay, she said the compassion and empathy is also very touching. Oh, nice. Okay, I'll look at that. But so they go out, so they get a phone call when these ladies, and I'm telling you, there's some of them that are having 8 and 9, maybe even, geez, was there 20 kids at one place? I don't know, but they're having babies. They went to school for 4 years. Okay, good to know that. So I didn't know that. Wow. So did they have some kind of degree? It was just a credential of being a midwife. That's interesting. So they're very good. And back then, they didn't have a lot of meds, right? So I don't know about you, Anna Marie, but when I went through, I had 3 kids. I did it hardcore and didn't have any meds either. I'm like, I am going to go this whole natural thing. And wow, I would do it differently now. I would definitely probably take some meds, but they didn't then. And so I don't know, you boys out there, you might not want to watch because you do see deliveries. Oh, they did have, yeah, they had some gas to give the women later on. Like I'm at a place where they just started introducing some of the meds, which is gas. They started using that. In some place, sometimes they use a lot of it, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if that's good or not. And actually, they actually showed where they were getting tuberculosis then, right? And so they started doing x-rays as well. And they were x-raying like everyone. They had this medical truck that came up and they parked it, and they were like, everyone in the area came in for x-rays. And so, us nowadays, you got to be so careful. Like when you go in for an X-ray, you have a screen on you, and wow, I just now when we see it right now compared to back then, we think of all these things. And another thing they do a lot is, I'm telling you, everybody smokes. But that's when the cigarettes were in. I mean, everyone smokes in the show. The midwives, doctor, I think, some of the pregnant women. I mean, everybody smokes. But I'm going to get back to, like, so where I start, one of the things I really like is the relationship. So the reason I like it so much is these midwives are so good to their patients. Yeah, I know. Even pregnant women were smoking. It was crazy. So when they go and check up on the women, and they go right to their house. So when they call them, unless it's an emergency, I saw that they did take them to a hospital, but they go right out to the house, and like they check up on them, and it's just so kind. Like it's so different nowadays. At least the birth that I had, it's just so different than what it used to be. Like the midwives they educate the late women, they work with them with the babies, and they're right in there with the delivery. I mean, I know that there is midwives nowadays, and that would actually be kind of a good way to go. Maybe, I don't know. I always wanted to be at the hospital, I think, in case of emergency. But just a relationship with the nuns. So I've never been to a Catholic school, but boy, have I heard stories of very strict nuns, very strict. And these are so supportive and so kind. I mean, they're strict. Um, I don't, I admire anyone who dedicates their life like that. But I just the relationships they all have, there's so much kindness, and I feel like we're missing that nowadays. I don't see as much as that. They go right into the neighborhoods, and everybody's out playing on the street, and kind of like when we were growing up. Yeah, when we were growing up, we were out all the time. They are very balanced. Yeah, and very supportive. Darn it. I don't know if we've advanced or regressed, because the kindness in this show is amazing, and it just touched my heart. I just how kind and supportive they are to new mothers, and just the techniques. So I'm also the other thing I really like about it is because I was an EMT for about 5 years when I lived in Minnesota when I was a supervisor. I also became an EMT because I worked on night shift, building sleds at Polaris Industries. And we didn't have any medical staff. So I thought, well, heck, I became a emergency responder first, and then I went ahead and got my EMT. And then I also volunteered on the ambulance. So, which I really liked, driving the ambulance super fast. That was the fun part of it. But I loved them, and I actually thought of going into the medical field. So I was thinking of being a life flight nurse. But at the time, I felt like, it's a lot of night shift. I was on night shift, and I wanted to get to days. And I felt like, oh, that's just, too much time away from family. And I didn't know if I would be able to work my way up into being a life flight nurse fast enough. I thought it would take several years, and to really make, a good salary at that. So, I mean, my son's a life flight pilot now, so I guess he went ahead and did it instead of me. So anyway, I decided not to go that route, and I went more into the business route. So I find I really like the medical field. And so I like this movie because I like watching the midwives and how they handle the women that are in labor, and The breathing, like they taught him later on. So later on, like Anna Marie said, they did bring in gas. They started doing breathing techniques. And then just the position that the women are in when they gave birth, they were changing that up, with the advanced um, medicines and studies that were coming out. There's also a couple times, when the babies get into stress, and just the way that they handled it then it was quite interesting. I found it very, very interesting, the medical part. I still really like medicine, and I guess if I had another 50 years, I might go into it, but that's enough for me. I can't take any more school. I just can't. So, also, I thought it was interesting. So, the transportation, and this goes back to everybody being out playing in the streets, is the nurses and the midwives all ride bikes to all their, it's kind of in that they're all in the same neighborhood, and they all ride bikes in dresses. So they all have to wear dresses. That's another thing that dates the movie, right? All of them, all the midwives are wearing dresses, and all the nuns have, of course, their whole outfit on while they're riding bikes to the calls. It's and in one episode they had to teach one of the ladies how to ride the bike, and that was pretty fun. That was pretty comical. But I thought it was interesting. It's very interesting that they start on bikes, and then uh, where the episode I'm at right now, they bring a moped in. So they're starting to introduce other transportation at that point. And I guess it's probably a small area, so they may not need anything more than a bicycle. But so when the women go into labor, they call up on the phone and they're like, "Get somebody over here." So the midwife jumps on the bike and rides over and then does the delivery. So I one in one episode it was kind of random, but when one of the men in the movie was trying to defuse, it must have been a bomb from the war, and he ended up dropping it and ran, and the whole thing went off. So maybe the guys would like that part of it. Explosives are always for men. So that was kind of a fun, educational episode, I guess. But so that's about all I have today. I would just wanted to talk about that movie. That's kind of what I'm into right now. I like the series as long as it's been going a while, because I hate it when you get into series and then they discontinue it or something, right? That's not very much fun at all. So my week's starting well. I went to the gym this morning. It's beautiful out. It's super busy. I have a lot going on today with work, and so that's good. That's why I try to do this on my lunch hour. Oh, good. So you watched it all. It's great. That's so it looks like, yeah, there's a lot of episodes all the way up to 2020, I think, is what I saw. That's going to be good to watch. I like it because they introduce different things that are going on during that period of time, and it really takes you back. So, people going through different things in their lifetime, and sort of their dating, the girls' relationships, and just their relationships with the nuns is very interesting, I thought. So I think that's hopefully it's not too boring today. Sorry. Ooh, even for me to like write down what I'm gonna write about today, I had it. It kind of takes me a bit because yeah, different fashion. I agree, Anne Marie. I agree with you. It's really fun to see some of the fashion, and they didn't watch a lot of TV, so they did have one episode where they had a radio that they had in there. But they're always, they're out dancing or they're out. Uh, that's back when everybody danced, guys, when men actually dance quite a bit. I don't see much of that going on nowadays. Like when I once in a while, some girls and I will go out to a local pub that has dancing, and there's usually only one guy that we've got to all share to dance with. So it'd be nice if, the guys were all dancing like they did back in the 50s. Everybody seemed to be dancing, but no smoking, because we know what happens with that. Geez, even the gas, right, Anne Marie? I mean, it seemed like they were really enjoying. It looked like the same gas they use in like the dentist office, and some of the women were really enjoying that gas. It must have taken the pain right away, but I kind of wonder if that was good for the baby back then. I mean, they didn't know. Everything was brand new. So, gee, yeah, that was interesting. So I guess it's based on memoirs from Jennifer Worth. So it must have been somewhat true to life. I'm sure some of it they added just to make it entertaining, but I thought it was really, really a fun. It's is so I'm in the first parts of it. A fun, uplifting, very especially. Don't you think like today what we're living through? We're all so distant and I don't know. Um, I don't even know if it's because of COVID. I don't know if our society in general has just moved away from, you know, somebody moves in the neighborhood, you take them a pie and you go meet them. Um, Meeting people like at the gym or when I go, out to watch the game or something. I don't know. It's almost like people are afraid to meet each other. Sort of like when I was talking with my granddaughter about um, meeting friends. I thought I was so extroverted. Like I thought I was so good at meeting people, but I don't seem to be as. I don't know. It's just so easy not to walk up to a stranger and shake their hand and say hi, or a veteran, and a vet, say thanks for serving. I'm trying to get better at all those things, but gee, I don't know. Have we just got to a point where we don't get to know each other as well? I mean, I have got to know my neighbors more here. Like in my new neighborhood, I have got to know them better. But it just seemed maybe it's all the electronic gadgets. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I think that's why I like this show so much because it just reminds me of when, as kids, we used to just go out, everybody get together and play softball out in the street or crack the whip. That was a fun one. Or dodgeball or, tetherball. I remember tetherball. And we always were out riding bike or hiking and all of those things. Honestly, I did see a lot of that this summer after COVID hit. So one thing that I thought it was really neat in the summer is when I was out walking my dog, I saw a lot of families. I mean a lot. Like there could have been groups of 10 families walking together out by the park and walking their dogs and riding bike and all those things. So I guess that's a one really good thing that COVID's brought about. It was nice seeing everybody out. So, unless you got something more, Anna Marie, I don't think I have anything more to talk about. I'm running out of things. Let's see. What else is there? I do not think I have any more. I'll have to find something more interesting tomorrow. So I hope everybody's Monday is going super well. And thank you, Anna Marie, for getting checking in on me. I love seeing you. I love seeing all your replies. It's just a really blessing to see my friends on here. Blessing, blessing. So with that, I think it's sayonara until tomorrow. So I love you. Um, have a blessed day, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. I'll try to think of something a little more interesting tomorrow, so that especially we got to include the men. I don't know if they're going to watch Call the Midwife because maybe they don't want to see babies being born. But I thought it was I thought it was a really fun series. So anyway, that's enough mumbling. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love you all.